For those coming in Zoom, it's a live Q&A day, so you are welcome to ask any question. Just go ahead and start putting them in the chat if you haven't emailed them or texted them already. I have a bunch of questions that are fun to go through, and one person who sent in her labs, which will be fun. But you're welcome to start putting those in the chat, and then we'll get moving and grooving. Looking forward to Q&A day. Mhm. My adaptogen elixir today, I used Rasa as my adaptogen. What else did I put in there? I put some Dandy Blend, some MCT oil powder, some collagen powder. I like stevia drops, nut milk. I'm trying to think if I put anything else in. Not that I remember, but it's time. All right. Make this small. Stop share screen. And let's get the show on the road. Hey, everybody. So nice to see you. So nice to see familiar faces and just to really honor, especially, I mean, just to honor everybody that you're showing up for yourself, to honor everyone that's here live, especially the faces. I'm seeing you like really take this seriously and be on each and every day. That's amazing. Really, like give yourself a pat on the back. And for those watching the replay, same to you. The fact that you're showing up for yourself and you're here and you're taking notes and hopefully you have your workbook, it's powerful. And, you get to prioritize yourself in pretty phenomenal ways. So I honor that in you. I think let's go ahead and dig in. So once again, housekeeping. If you don't have the workbook yet, and this is your first day, please put workbook in the chat and we'll make sure someone from the team can get you the workbook. It's lovely to have it printed up and a place to take all your notes, but right now isn't necessarily the time to be printing it. Just make sure you have pen and paper. One of the common things I see in clients of mine or women that really enjoy my content is they like to take notes, right? Because we like to learn. If you're not familiar with who I am, I'm Maraya Brown. I'm a Yale and functional medicine trained women's health provider, and I'm a mom. My children are 12, 10, and 7. I'm also a CEO, a founder, and a wife. And I live in Southern Oregon, where it's beautiful. I also lived in Hawaii for 8 years. And I've headed up international health projects in West Africa, Central America, and Haiti. And today, since 2018, my work spans the globe online. So I work with women all over the world with a team of master coaches, and we really help women come alive. And that's through looking at functional tests, looking under the hood at their vitality and their hormones and their thyroid and their adrenals, definitely gut microbiome. But also, it's a very multidisciplinary approach where we honor that mindset matters and prayer works. And, there's a lot out there. So, Watha, I'm seeing you want the workbook. And Raisa put the link right up there. So, you're welcome to grab it. And then, Raisa, if you also want to put down the phone number and the email address, if at any point anyone's listening and you have questions, you just email admin@marayabrown.com. As long as you know how to spell my name, you're going to find it, right? So it's all A's, Maraya, Maraya Brown. So you can email admin@marayabrown.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's _MarayaBrown.com. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, if you want to find me on YouTube, podcast is called the Women's Vibrancy Code Podcast. But there is the phone number and the email address if at any point you have questions. Good. So I also wanted to really give a big congrats. Congrats to Laura and Teresa and Mary Lou and Kirsten and Wanda and Stephanie and Brenna. Am I forgetting anybody? Just a big arms wide open welcome. I'm so thrilled that you said yes, right? Three of you did a Women's Vibrancy Code VIP package that includes a year-long experience with retreats. One of you didn't want the retreats because you've traveled out and you've got young kids, so just wanted the personalization of one-on-one time and functional tests and self-paced learning. Amazing. For Stephanie, she's already finished the trifecta and she wanted to continue. Same with Brenna. Brenna has already finished the trifecta and she's like, this is amazing. I want to continue. And then Wanda, so fun to have you back. She has been an alumni and keeps coming back for more. That's the beautiful thing around this is once you've had the experience and the lights are turned on, you go, oh, this is so amazing. And like I said, I don't remember what day that was. Oh, the day that Maria did the testimonial. And I said, for me, once you're in my space, you're in my space. Meaning, if you're in my heart, you're in my heart. And so for everybody, once you've signed up for that initial program, I've opened up the doors to the Women's Vibrancy Accelerator Trifecta, which is a 90-day experience. I've created an offering that's a $13,000 offer for only 4,200. I've never done something like that, but it's spectacular and it's well worth it. And once you're finished with that, then you have the option to massage and tweak and hand pick kind of where you want to go from there. And I think that's everything from a housekeeping perspective. Aaliyah was going to share live today, but she's under the weather, so we'll wait and trust that she's going to be getting better, and I'll bring her on either Monday or Tuesday. And so let's go ahead and dig into some of the questions. So first question was, I wake up tired even after 8 hours of sleep, and by 3 p.m. I'm completely drained. Is this just part of getting older, or is it something wrong with my hormones or adrenals? Oh, and I love this question, right? We get to really go, ah. Now, as we age, our metabolism does tend to slow down a little bit, right? Estradiol and estrone are very different estrogens. Estradiol being the one of our fertility years, estrone being the one of our menopausal years. So our desires change. We want to do a little bit less multitasking, more kind of single-minded, and it is not normal to be crashing at 3 p.m. or to be feeling like you need another dose of caffeine to keep going. And even if you've gone to your provider, I really want you to hear that there's still answers out there. We get to look at your adrenals, specifically that Dutch Plus test, so I can see your 24-hour cortisol curve. Also look at your thyroid. Like I've said, often you've been told your thyroid is normal. I want to see the labs. I want to see what's been done. I want to see the ranges that they're considering normal. Sometimes we want to look at, is there leaky gut, right? Are you just simply doing too much and your stress levels over the top? Are you not feeling turned on by the life that you're living? And so you're drained, or are you getting 8 hours of sleep, but you're not actually getting quality sleep, right? So just because you're a horizontal log does not necessarily mean that you're getting that quality sleep. Yeah. Okay. Let me see in the chat. Obviously, if anybody that's live has specific questions, please ask them. Okay. And I just want to add that that's exactly how we structured the trifecta. It's part of the reason why I designed it the way I did. So we can look at like really comprehensive. How's your body detoxing? What's going on with the hormones? How are your adrenals? I get to look at your organic acids so we can see markers around dopamine and melatonin and inflammation, right? And then I'm looking at a really comprehensive thyroid panel. And you have the core education through the modules plus one-on-one time with me and Katie, plus on top of it, the continued support of the twice a month live Q&As. So we really get to unpack it. Okay. Next question. My doctor said my thyroid levels are normal, but I still feel foggy, bloated, and my hair is thinning. What am I missing? Oh, yeah, totally. So just like I said earlier, it might be that your thyroid's not normal. Okay. And it might be that something else is going on, right? Brain fog, it can come from gut. It can come from toxicity. It can come from poor sleep, bloating. It can come from gut. It can come from thyroid. It can come from progesterone. Okay. So there's a lot of different moving pieces here. And then the thinning hair can come from a depletion of B vitamins. It can come from your thyroid, your adrenals, right? So there's a lot of possibilities. And it makes me think of a client of mine, Marianne. She shared a testimonial years ago. She had hypothyroidism for 10 years. She'd been on thyroid meds, but it just like she never quite really felt spectacular. And as we were digging in, her thyroid labs had kind of been all over the place, and no one had ever ordered her thyroid antibodies. And so I ordered the thyroid antibodies, and they were completely out of whack. In her scenario, she had Hashimoto's. And so when she went to her endocrinologist, she said, look, and the endocrinologist said, well, of course you do. Everybody with hypothyroidism over this much time has Hashimoto's, but there's nothing we can do about it. And she went, "Are you kidding me? For 10 years, I could have had a better solution to this." And so, of course, we celebrated that she was working with me and Katie, and we got to the bottom of it. And we changed personalized diet. We, of course, tackled inflammation and gut health and really turned it around. Now, that doesn't mean that she went off. She tried going off of her levothyroxine, but it was unsuccessful. In her scenario, she went back on. And then over time, we tapered down. But to acknowledge that there was an autoimmune piece that had been dismissed. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. Next question. What detox do you recommend? What detox are you currently doing? Great question. I can actually grab the link. Well, first of all, I would say there's no detox that I would recommend, especially because I don't know each of you personally. I don't think detoxes are something that you just like do willy-nilly. Um, yeah. That's a touchy one. But the detox that I'm doing right now, because I mentioned it on one of the lives, is designed by Dr. Chris Shade. It's made by Quicksilver Scientific. Here, I can put the link in the chat. And it's an advanced liver, kidney, and gallbladder detox. It's actually over 30 days. So I do 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. And it's just these drinks that I drink first thing in the morning, hold them in my mouth for 3 minutes, then wait 30 minutes, another drink, then wait 30 minutes and eat. I do that morning and evening. And there's options. For some, they do diet modification along with it, extended intermittent fasting. For me, my life is pretty full. I haven't done a whole lot else, but I already have really dialed in my nutrition. In my scenario, I don't eat any gluten. I don't have any dairy. I rarely eat sugar. I rarely have caffeine. Um, and I'm adding in detox drinks from the local juice bar. For those that are local, I love Heartsong. Um, and so anyway, to answer your question specifically, I wouldn't recommend any detox without knowing you. But the important thing about this one, and one of the things I love about this detox specifically, is when we do any detox, we want to remove the toxins from the cells. We also want to ensure that they're then removed from the body. So sometimes what happens is people will go on a detox and our body's really smart. When we're exposed to toxins, the body traps those toxins in fat cells. So they can't wreak havoc on the body. Okay. So sometimes what happens is people will go on a diet, lose a bunch of weight. So the fat or the adipose tissue is gone, which has now released the toxins. But now they're roaming around. I always think of like Pac-Man through the body. No bueno. And so then often people have rebound weight gain after a diet because the body's like, whoa, not safe. Put the weight back on, trap the toxins, okay, because they want to trap them in fat soluble. So we want to free them up, turn them water soluble, and then ensure that they get out. So that's why this detox is called Push Catch. It's advanced through NABA. You get it at discount pricing. So I put the link in there. And Raisa, if you want to pop the link in the Facebook places too, that would be awesome. But like I said, I wouldn't just randomly, like when people are the first of the year, everybody's going on detoxes. I'm like, oh man, especially after the holidays where you've just been like gluttonizing and eating all the sugar and the crap and the high stress. And now everyone's like, I'm gonna have a New Year's resolution and free up all those toxins. And now, okay, I'll stop. Okay, yeah, there was a question. You recommended Juice Plus. Is that a powder or capsule? Ooh, Aaliyah, can you grab that link by any chance? Ah, Laura, nice to see you. Um, Aaliyah, can you grab the Juice Plus link? So Juice Plus is encapsulated fruits, vegetables, and berries. Yes, you can order them on the website. I'm actually going to have Aaliyah give you Katie's website as the team dietitian. So when you order under her, it benefits her, which is kind of fun. And I've actually taken Juice Plus for 19 years, I think. It's the most researched supplement on the globe. I love that it's not vitamins. It's a bunch of fruits, vegetables, and berries that are grown by small to medium-sized farms. They're picked at their peak of ripeness, meaning you get the nutritional density, right? Then they're frozen, pulverized, and dehydrated and put into capsule form. You can also get them as gummies. And then Juice Plus has a great plant-based protein powder that's a quality soy. They also have these new adaptogen mixes called Illuminate. I'm really enjoying them. I actually didn't have one today, but I did drink one yesterday. And hopefully, Raisa, maybe give Aaliyah a little nudge. I know she's not feeling well. I might text her. Aaliyah, juice plus link in chat, please. Okay. Moving on. What supplements do you take in the afternoon when your energy is low? I love it. I'll show you. I have in my drawer all of my snacks. I've got my favorite bars and my nuts. I have my Juice Plus capsules. And I'm not going to keep looking. I usually add cordyceps and lion's mane. So cordyceps, cordy, cordyceps is a great adaptogen. It comes from a mushroom and it's lovely for stamina without the coffee buzz. Okay. And the nice thing with adaptogens is they go in and they help the body better adapt to stress. So cordyceps and then lion's mane is another mushroom, so another adaptogen, and it's really good at specifically helping with focus. So I imagine those brain synapses just like clear and crisp. Yeah. And so if my energy's feeling a little low, I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to take note. Have I kept my blood sugar steady throughout the day? I'm not going to go to juice or fruit or sugar or processed food or refined carbohydrates. Um, Willpower is more a byproduct of blood sugars than it is actual willpower. Okay, so if we can keep our blood sugars steady, that's going to make a big difference with the energy slump anyway. And then we bring in cordyceps. I can spell it cordyceps, 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 and lion's mane. So I usually keep them in my drawer. It's just right now there's too much in my drawer and I don't want to waste time. And I'll take a capsule of each. I'll also add them into an adaptogen elixir. So if I'm doing elixir in the afternoon, I'll make another one with lion's mane and cordyceps. And then I have these little energy bits. It's just greens. In this scenario, it's just spirulina and chlorella, I think. So greens. I keep spirulina powder, green powders, chlorella powder. You'd be surprised at bringing in like a dose of greens or even some electrolytes in your water. They can do wonders to help with energy. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the MTHFR mutation, please? Best ways to support it. I really struggle with fatigue. Yeah. Okay. So MTHFR gene mutation over the last, I want to say 10 years, it's become much more clear. We're now understanding that as much as 60% of the population has at least one allele that's got a SNP on it. What are some of the things that can be behind MTHFR? So, number one, women who have the MTHFR gene mutation have a hard time absorbing folic acid. And so, you definitely don't want, I want to spotlight there. Um, you definitely don't want to add folic acid. So if you're taking a vitamin, we don't want folic acid in there. We do want folate. So we do want the actual food form, not the vitamin form. Okay. And generally speaking, someone with an MTHFR gene mutation will add methylfolate. So it's nice if it's methylated. So you can just do a search for methylfolate. And if you work with me, Katie and I will choose one that's specifically for you. We have a client right now who one of the things with MTHFR is it tends towards depression, fatigue, and also recurrent miscarriages. So we have a client right now, she had 3 miscarriages in a row, and no one ever even tested her for MTHFR. So Katie and I are working with her. She's now 15 weeks right now. I'm celebrating you. I'm celebrating you. I'm not going to use her name because she's never shared publicly, but we really tackled the MTHFR piece. So getting her on pretty high doses of personalized methylfolate. And then, there's all the other pregnancy stuff that we're supporting there. Um, and yeah, fatigue can be a big part of that. So the easiest thing to start with is if we end up working together, I'm happy to order the MTHFR gene mutation to see if it's positive for you and if it's one or two alleles. And then either way, just adding in methylfolate and make sure you're not adding folic acid, which is a challenge because a lot of processed food in the US is automatically adding folic acid. A little tip for great sources of folate, strawberries and also lemon peel. So anytime you are juicing a lemon, keep the lemon and do a lemon zest, and it's a great source of folate, just as a heads up. Okay, then Regina asked if I could review her labs. So let me pull up Regina's labs. Regina. Thank you for filing that, Aaliyah. I appreciate you. And Aaliyah put the Juice Plus link in there. If you're watching on Facebook, it's kchapman.juiceplus.com. And maybe Race has put that in there. Okay, let me do a share screen. And I'll make this bigger. All right, let's take a peek at what we've got for labs. Okay, so first we're looking at vitamin D. You'll see here, I can scroll, zoom in. Often a vitamin D, a lab will say vitamin D normal is like 25 through 100. This says 30 through 100. I like to see it between 60 and 80. So we can see at 4 different points. I would call this consistently low with vitamin D. So definitely supplement with vitamin D. We also get to look at what's going on there, right? Is there something going on where your body's not absorbing the vitamin D that you're taking? So for Katie and I to give you some personalized support on shifting what type of vitamin D you're supplementing with, and also helping if there's any leaky gut or gut dysbiosis to support the absorption. Um, ApoP, this is ApoB. This is related to a cholesterol panel. Um, and kind of like shows the not so great aspects of cholesterol. I rarely look at this one because I'm, not working so much in this realm, but it is important simply because cholesterol is the foundation of our hormonal well-being. And I think sometimes people, their cholesterol levels are brought too far down, but nothing super alarming here. CRP, this is a general marker of inflammation. For all of you in the trifecta, I'll order this as well. The challenge with a CRP is if it's elevated. In your scenario, it's not. If it is elevated, we go, okay, well, now what? Like we know that it's elevated, but we have to figure out uh, what's causing it. Sometimes it's a dental infection, maybe it's inflammation, maybe who knows. But if inflammation is high, we definitely want to tackle inflammation. Okay, CBC. I'm just going to skim through this swiftly and see if there's anything that really jumps out at me. Um, no signs of iron deficiency, no signs of B deficiency. Clotting factors are great. Nothing here that really jumps out. Um, Electrolytes consistently good. Liver's looking good. Yeah, nothing that really jumps out there. And then cholesterol panel. So total cholesterol is better. Wouldn't touch that. LDL slightly elevated. That relates back to the ApoB. Our good cholesterol, there's always room to improve that, but that's good. So nothing that's really striking there, but getting support on overall cholesterol panel is always going to be helpful. Estrogen level, this is through blood. It doesn't really help me because I don't know where you were in your menstrual cycle, if you're menopausal, not menopausal, or a reference range of what your estrogen was at a different point. Ferritin, a little bit on the low end, so not anemic, but that could be some of the fatigue if you are experiencing fatigue. Hemoglobin A1C shows an average of all of your blood sugars over 3 months' time. And so there's no sign of diabetes. That's great. Homocysteine, I love homocysteine. Whoever ordered this, it's pretty comprehensive. So your homocysteine level is a general marker of cardiovascular well-being. I like to see it below 10. This lab says normal range of 13, so we're good there. And methylmalonic acid, I think this relates to B12. Um, and we're looking fine there. I don't know a whole lot about that one. Progesterone is on the low end of normal, but once again, I don't know where you were in either your menstrual cycle or if you're postmenopausal. Um, Free T3, is a little bit low. So that's the thyroid hormone that's actually usable. Free T4 is what's actually coming out of the thyroid. And, in that mid to low range, let's see if there's a TSH. TSH is all over the place. So definitely room for thyroid support. I don't know if your provider is putting you on meds and changing the dosing a lot or what's going on, but I want to see it between 1 and 2. And it's just a bit of a roller coaster. So definitely giving you some support to fine tune thyroid support. Okay, here's B12. Everything's looking fine. Folate was over 20 the last time you had it checked. I would not be alarmed with you if your folate was too high because well, I don't know if you have the MTHFR gene. So this is what I was talking about with that MTHFR piece. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. That's a lot of information, but so does anybody else have any questions that pop up from the midst of that? And I see Ave's on, so I want to make sure I can bring on Ave for her testimonial, and then we'll go through more questions. And I see there's some questions in the chat too. Anything? Sunny, I'll get to yours next after I do the testimonial. Spell cordyceps, I did. Thank you so much. I do have the MTHFR gene mutation. Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, really making sure that we've got you on the right methylfolate and, giving you a little bit more of a personalized approach to go, how might that impact you based on you and your age right now and your scenario. There's a lot of different ways that MTHFR gene can kind of impact things. All right, let me bring Ave on and add spotlight. There she is. There she is. Ave, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, happy
Hi.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. You look so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on a Sunday, and thanks to everyone that's live. That we're midday on a Sunday. I'm here in Southern Oregon. We got our first snow of the year here in Ashland. It hasn't quite stuck, but anyway, Ave, I'm grateful for your time. Can you just give a little, introduce yourself, say a little bit about before you enrolled in the Women's Vibrancy Accelerator Trifecta? What were you struggling with? What were you hoping for? Why did you say yes?
Okay, sure. Thank you. And uh, thank you for allowing me to share my testimony. Okay, so my name is Ave Marie Cunningham. I am 66 years young. And I started with the pause through another program that Maraya was a guest speaker on. And that's how I got connected with the pause part of the program. And I started with the pause because of knowing that my body was just out of sync. So, with doing the pause and going into the trifecta, it really just kind of brought a lot of things into alignment. The 10 sections that Mariah went through with, your hormones, your thyroids, your adrenals, libido, everything. And I realized that I was completely depleted. As a woman, as a mom, as a grandma, it was all about providing and being there for everyone else. And it got to the point where there was no Ave. There was nothing that I had that I can say, oh, this works for me, or I feel this. Going through the effect that it pinpoint all of the things that you depleted, you don't know what you don't know, and then when someone is able to help you start kind of pinpointing those areas that you didn't even realize that you were that far off track with, you have an aha moment. And so with that aha moment, I've been able to bring myself back into realizing just far I've been off with mind, health, body, my weight, libido, vitality. I used to be a lively, spunky person, and it just all started to kind of dwindle down. So now I'm starting to set boundaries for myself. I give my grand and my children and everybody else some time, but then I also have to make sure that I have that time for myself, that self-care, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so that awareness, I guess, is a good word for it. Being aware
Hmm.
and then start making sure that you put that time and energy in. Make a
Mm.
space for yourself.
Yeah, so good. So what I'm hearing, and it's interesting, I heard someone else say it, I think it was yesterday. I think Sheila said it. This idea that we don't know what we don't know.
That's true.
And to
It's-
go, oh, wow, what were those pieces where I was feeling depleted? And maybe I realized it, but I was kind of sweeping it under the rug because it's kind of scary to really call it out. And then are there going to be solutions? But to be able to feel that, like, oh, wow, I am kind of depleted, and that domino effect of
yes,
all the other areas of your life that it was impacting. And then you said yes. And so what I've already heard is already there's a new power within you where you're setting boundaries and making yourself a priority.
yes.
I'm curious so far in these 3 months that we've been working together, when you've set different boundaries and prioritized yourself differently and kind of showed up differently with your children and your grandchildren, what has that changed for you? What has it changed? Yeah, what has it changed?
Okay, so attitude, um, I'm more alert. Um, Even my children notice that there's a change in, it's like you have a different vibe about yourself, that just kind of starts kind of radiate off of you when you start
Yeah.
feeling different, you start noticing things. It's like when you lose weight and you start getting back into some of the clothes you weren't able to fit in, and it just gives you that new confidence. So it just kind of bringing me back to some of the things that I was used to, but I let die out.
Oh my
And just like
gosh.
you were saying about when you don't know, you don't know. And
Hmm.
another part of that is if you don't know what to look for, what to ask.
Yep. 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 And I love that others are noticing it. So it's one thing for you to feel like my attitude is changing. I have more power. I'm setting boundaries. I feel more alert. There's new confidence. This feeling that Ave is back. But then also for those that love you and that are close to you and around you to mirror it back. And hopefully they're celebrating it and seeing it.
Yes.
Um, I will say sometimes they don't always celebrate it. I've had I've had some clients where their loved ones are like, "Wait a minute. If you're changing, does that mean I have to change? I'm not going to do that." So, but I'm getting the picture that in this scenario, it is really a celebration for everybody involved.
Yes, yes.
So good. What else has changed for you? Anything else that you want to highlight?
Okay. I am low vision, limited sight. And
Mhm.
so that has also been sort of like a area where I kind of lost my self-esteem and my confidence. So having to go through the process with the trifecta also kind of brought that into the limelight because it's like, hey, you are low vision, your sight is limited, but that does not change you in being a lively, vibrant individual. You just
Yeah.
have to look at it and progress in it in a different way. And
Yep.
so that was a eye opener as well because it's like, you know what? I still can live life and be a lively, vibrant person, just in a
Yeah.
different way.
I love the irony of you saying it's an eye opener.
That's why I smiled even larger.
And I remember we had that one-on-one hour and we focused most all of the hour just on that topic to just unpack it and all of the possibilities. That
Yes,
was potent. That's big. That's good.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um, And I know we're still waiting. Your Dutch Plus test, you sent that out a little bit late, and I think we haven't even reviewed that yet, have we?
We haven't reviewed it
Okay,
yet.
we're gonna get that done before you're done. Anything else that you want to add just regarding what's changed so far from your time with Katie, your time on the Q&A calls, your time on the modules, anything else that you want to add?
Just the fact that, don't be afraid to admit when you don't know, because you're not the only one that's going through and don't know.
Yeah.
Just like this, the saying about there's no dumb questions. Said if you're asking a question, more than likely others out there asking that same question. So just being able to have the one-on-one with you, just doing the classes, just learning, bringing my body back into balance, because it was an eye opener, and it was very impactful to learn how important your hormones, your thyroids, your adrenals, and your weight, and what you eat, and the timing that you eat it, and the
Mm,
combinations of what you eat. All of it was just mind-boggling, really, because it's like, some of it I knew, and other parts, when you start bringing it all together, it really starts to say make
yeah.
sense, and you'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was partially there. So now, where maybe was 30% there, now I'm maybe like 60, 65% there. So
Awesome. Uh, and that's fast. I mean, we're close to 3 months, but we're not even at maybe we're only 2 months in. To think of, is that right? I think are we 2 months in?
mid December was when I started, because I did the pause, and then from the pause I went into the trifecta.
That's amazing.
Yes.
In a month and a half. Like everybody do this. Like this, like send you. Yes. Yes. In a month and a half? Where else are you
Listen,
going to go where there's I mean, come on, new boundaries, new attitude, more alert, new confidence, Ave's back, new vision, a regaining of self, a regaining of self-esteem in a month and a half?
yes, yes, yes. I just had to literally shut down everything and everybody so I could just focus. I was like, okay, 2025 is about me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that I prioritize me. So, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
setting those boundaries going into this year, it's like, okay, how everybody makes resolutions. Okay, new year, January, I'm going to start off, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this. So, yes, just have to
Yeah.
shut everything and everybody off. And it's like, okay, not now. This
Yeah.
is my time.
It's been such a delight working with you. And I love having you on the
Same
group
here.
Q&A calls, and I love my time with you. And I know the team does too.
Yes.
Um, Anything else that you want to say to the women who are wanting to enroll in the trifecta, but feeling all the normal feelings of who am I and what do you mean? And I'm afraid and my palms are sweating. I mean, I just enrolled in a 15K program today. Well, officially yesterday. And it's like I had to remind myself, oh yeah, there I am. My palms are sweating. I feel nauseous. I even like the moments where I think of really, what about the times where it didn't work? I go, that doesn't
Yes.
serve
Yes.
me. I know that when I invest in me, it's always positive.
Yes.
And when I change my vision to the place of hope and trust and allow faith to step in, it's so powerful. And, for me, I go, I want to walk my talk as I'm asking for all of you to take steps too. So, anything you want to say to the women that are knowing that they want it, but some of them are even hesitating just to book the breakthrough call. Yo, that's a free time. At least book that. Go ahead.
Yes. So what I would say to the ladies that are on the fence, or afraid, yes, when I heard about this, it was sweaty palms. It was like, okay, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. But then the fear, and it was like, can't allow the fear to block this, because I knew I needed something to get me out of the rut that I was in.
Hmm.
So, like Steve Harvey say, you have to just jump. So take that leap of faith and jump. I just had to make myself do it.
Yeah.
Even when I was signing the paper, registered, I was still kind of nervous. I was like, Lord help me, because I have to do this. I need this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
that was, had to
Yeah.
do it. This
Yeah.
was a priority that I had to do for me, because I knew where I was. I was basically kind of drowning in a sense.
Hmm.
I was borderline probably heading into depression, because it's like I just didn't have any motivation. I just was completely depleted, mentally,
Yeah.
physically, emotionally. I was just depleted.
I'm
And
so glad you
I had
did.
some health challenges in 24, and that didn't help matters any. So I knew I needed something to kind of get me back
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
right path. So,
And
ladies, if you have any doubts, don't let the fear keep you from making this commitment to yourself. You deserve it.
hmm
It's
hmm
worth it.
man, and you think about the long-term influence of moving from depression to Ave's back.
Yes.
Whew, that there is no dollar amount that anybody could ever tell me they are placing a value on that. That's your life. That's your presence. That's your quality of life. That's your relationships. I always say, it's not the number of breaths that we take, it's the number of moments that take our breath away. And
Yes.
you're bringing in those moments that are going to take your breath away in a really positive way. So I'm cheering you on, and I know everybody else is
Thank you.
too.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. I appreciate you greatly.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you very much.
Of course. Oh, so good. Okay, let me get into there's more pre-submitted questions, but let me make sure I can address what's in the chat too. So I'm 49, had a hysterectomy. Well, can I see all that? I want to see it. No. 7 years ago. Years ago, we had an extreme family stress from a child with hospitalization many times. I then seemed to have a huge letdown and adrenal fatigue. Yeah, totally. Not to mention a hysterectomy. Okay, I want to say this. If you've had a partial hysterectomy and your ovaries are still there, sometimes your ovaries will continue to produce the sex hormones, but not always. I see women with partial hysterectomies that are still thrown into menopause. And if you had a total hysterectomy, then your ovaries are removed. Welcome to menopause. Not to mention just recovering from the stress on your body from a major surgery and often antibiotics that you're on. Then to add the stress of life, totally. You've got increase in inflammation, adrenal exhaustion, probably also started hot flashes and new emotional days. Didn't feel like myself, right? Because estrogen's dropping, progesterone's gone because you're no longer ovulating. Testosterone is impacted. Plus, you've got cortisol stuff. So now we've got hot flashes. Sometimes there can be changes in weight. There can be predisposed, like injury prone, random things like itchy ears. I mean, there could be so many different symptoms that will show up. Didn't feel like myself, low libido too. I've started taking hormone therapy with my provider, done several blood tests, started with estradiol, then we added testosterone, and then we added progesterone. I feel better, but I'm watching to learn if I should add supplements. Yeah, totally. And even fine tuning the estradiol, or maybe going, we talked about this, maybe the possibility of adding some vaginal estriol, making sure that we're clear on what's the dose of the progesterone, or what's the source of the progesterone, and then is the body able to properly absorb the nutrients, assimilate the nutrients, and detoxify what isn't serving you, right? So that goes to adrenals and that goes to gut. So in your scenario, I think it might be really valuable to be able to look at all of the serum blood tests and then also look at a Dutch Plus test so we can match them. And then look with the Dutch Plus to see what is your body doing with the hormones? How's your body getting them out of the body, which can sometimes make some of the symptoms a little bit more nasty. And then also for you, I would love to add a GI map and some extra time with Katie so we can really get to the gut microbiome piece post surgery, post stress, and to go, how do we really optimize when there's already hormone replacement therapy, to celebrate the ways it is working, but also to go, how can we optimize this even more? So, what supplements of adaptogens do you recommend when you are taking hormonal therapy already bioidentical? Okay, so adaptogens aren't really hormones. Adaptogens help the body better adapt to stress, and they're giving the foundation. Okay. So in your scenario, I would want to know a little bit more around the main symptoms. Um, but for just any overall adrenal fatigue, you can start with a rasa or four sigmatic or a Nema Mundi, whatever you can find in your local grocery store to get an adaptogen mushroom mix, ideally without coffee in it. And then use those adaptogen elixir recipes. If you want the recipes, if you don't have them already, just put recipe in the comments. And Raisa, you can give them the link to download that. If you don't have it already, just mix and match. Okay, we want the adaptogen, we want a protein source, a fat source, hot water, and then sweetener to taste, not milk to taste, and other flavoring. Um, I think I would need to know a little bit more about your scenario to give any specific recommendations. For libido, I would say Shatavari and ashwagandha, bringing them both together at the same time can really go a long way. It's like the feminine and masculine balanced. So you're bringing in vitality and juiciness. With progesterone use, making sure that you've got adequate B vitamins. To optimize your testosterone, it'd be nice to look at what is your body doing with it to make sure it's sending it down a pathway that's really usable. And, I'm not a big fan of pellets. So is it through cream? Is it pellets? Is it injections? How are you doing the testosterone? Hopefully that helps. And then we can also work on, I can't say the word because this is live streamed into the social media space too, but down there, helping to support that in a personalized way. Okay. Also my TSH thyroid is 7.4, so that's low. That was my normal range, but you said 1.1 to 2. Yeah, I want to see your TSH between 1 and 2. My mother has been hypothyroid since 45. Should I work on my thyroid levels? Yes. I would want to make sure we can look at not only a TSH, but a free T4, a free T3, a reverse T3, and your thyroid antibodies. And with the trifecta, we order all of that for you. And my August thyroid, I'm assuming that was your TSH, was 0.48. Okay, so what's happening is TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. It's actually not even coming from the thyroid. It's coming from the pituitary. So the pituitary and the thyroid are communicating with one another. And the pituitary is also communicating with your adrenals and with your ovaries and your gut, all that stuff. So if your thyroid is not producing enough T4, the thyroid hormone that comes from the thyroid, then your pituitary will increase TSH as a knock. Hey, hello, wake up. We need more thyroid hormone. Okay. In your scenario, it's consistently low. So then I go, is your T4 actually kind of high? And so the pituitary is slowing down the TSH, going thyroid too much, we don't need so much. Or is there a misfiring in the communication? And that's when we go to HPA axis. And I have a lot to say about that. But then we also want to look at your T3 so I can see when your body produces T4, when you have healthy liver, healthy gut, healthy body, low inflammation, the right nutrients for you, your body then takes that T4, converts it to T3 as the usable form. So that could also be some of the communication with the pituitary. So yeah, it definitely seems like we need some more testing and just to watch it. And then also to take a peek at thyroid antibodies if there is a miscommunication, right? So if you look at your T4 and it's actually in normal range, but your TSH is knocking on the door more, it's like, okay, why is the pituitary not getting the memo? And we get to go in and look at that. Okay. Ovary still there, recipe, under the tongue testosterone. Got it. Great. So recipe, hopefully Raisa, great. Raisa's already on it. Thank you, Raisa. I appreciate you. Ashwagandha and Shatavari, Shatavari, Shatavari. Doing ashwagandha and Shatavari. One great one would be Quicksilver Scientific has their black label adrenal blend. I would start there. Yeah, that's a great one. It's liquid. So it's by Quicksilver Scientific. It's in a black bottle and it's called their Black Label adaptogen blend. And then grab the recipes and still drink your elixir. Still drink them all day long. I make this big old pot and I sip on it all day long. There's no caffeine in it, but I'm just perpetually feeding my adrenals, helping my body better adapt to stress, keeping my blood sugar steady because there's protein and quality fat in there. I use collagen powder as my protein, and I use MCT oil powder as the fat, right? But there's lots of options, and you'll see in the adaptogen elixirs, in those recipes, you can personalize it. Okay. Ovary's still there, and sometimes that means your body's still producing some hormones, but not always. Okay, recipe, I see that. Ashwagandha, T4, T3. Yeah, thank you. So hopefully that answered all of the questions. I want to make sure that I wanted to share screen just to make sure, and I can go a little bit over to get to the other questions too. So, Raisa, if you want to pop this link in the chat, it's just, or if you guys are watching, wherever you're watching, if you're on the replay page, the link is right at the top. If you're on Facebook, it's marayabrown.com/trifecta dash pause. And so just, really look through this to be able to allow yourself to imagine your most vibrant, turned on self, right? Your physique, your relationships, your energy, your skin, your libido, sense of adventure, wardrobe, peace of mind, optimism, alive, your joy, right? It's all important. And we've unpacked that a lot in the midst of pause. There's sick, there's fine, and there's spectacular. Okay. Some of you come in and start working with us, and you're in this place of sick. In the midst of pause, we've unpacked a lot around fine. I want to move you to spectacular. Yeah. A little bit about my story. And did you know this? 1 in 4 children will develop diabetes. Over 60% of women experience burnout, and more than 4 meds after age 40. After age 40, the average American's on 4 meds. And that's the norm, right? Not to say that medications are bad. I have my prescriptive authority. I've been prescribing since 2007, but it's not always the answer, right? Especially when we're just putting a band-aid on a festering wound and perpetually just doing quick fixes for symptoms without getting to the root cause. So, just to make sure you guys are clear with the trifecta and what I'm offering now, it's 90 days, 2 one-on-one calls. So one with me, one with Katie, who you met on day one. If you want to go back and watch that recording, she's the team registered dietitian. We do a full assessment, your initial questionnaire, your 1 week food diary, initial measurements, right? Then we're ordering labs. So your Dutch Plus, your comprehensive thyroid panel, a vitamin D, a CRP, even if you've had it done, still nice to take another peek, right? And then you have access to the biweekly live Q&A calls, plus the self-paced portal for 3 months that everybody is saying they're loving so much. I really handpicked those modules. And as long as you join by February 5th, we've added on the one-on-one call with me. So then it becomes 2. This pricing is actually incorrect, but whatever, it is what it is. And the virtual VIP day, right? So you're now getting a virtual VIP day as well. So normally I charge 55. The program is a $9,500 program. I usually charge 5,500, but right now for pause, it's 4,200, and I'm adding those benefits on February 5th. So look through this, ask your questions, book your dang call with me, right? You guys, like, you have access to booking a 1 hour call. Why not just receive it? No strings attached. If nothing else, we have some great clarity by the end of that conversation. Okay. And do you prefer supplements in a capsule or powder in a drink? Does it matter? What's most important is, what do you prefer? So I have many clients that say, I can't swallow capsules. So Katie and I do our best to find supplements that are going to work for them that are either liquid or powder. There are some that I much prefer to be in liquid form because I think it's more absorbable, and others that make a lot more sense to be in capsule form. Okay, so that's really a personalized thing. Okay, let me see if I have time for one more question from what was submitted. Okay. I've gained 15 pounds in the last year, and no matter how clean I eat or how much I work out, nothing is shifting. Could this be my hormones? Girl, absolutely. It can be your hormones. It could be your estrogen. It could be your testosterone. It could be your progesterone. It could be your thyroid. It could be your adrenals. It could be your emotions. If you're not letting go of emotions and you're holding on, could be emotional eating. Okay. It could be gut microbiome stuff. It is amazing. Like I got to work with Kathleen Cameron for, we worked together for 6 months, and it was, if anybody knows her, she's got a pretty large following and very successful. And she wanted to lose 100 pounds, but she didn't want to do it for the sake of vanity. She wanted to be health. She wanted to focus on her longevity. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm not going to work with someone specifically to lose weight. That's not what this is. Often people do if they need to, because we're letting go of toxins and we're optimizing your body and we're getting to the root cause. And in her scenario, yes, she did lose the 100 pounds. But along her journey, and a lot of her work is around manifestation and identity. So she was also doing her own work around her identity and what it represented for her to be able to say, I am health, right? And then along the way, there was for anyone who's wanting to lose those 15 pounds, particularly in this perimenopause and menopause journey, to go, well, what significance are we giving it? Why is it important? And what else can we do to support stress levels and hormones? And like I've said, thyroid, adrenals, gut, it's all important. And then let's see, one more. I used to handle stress really well, but now the smallest things overwhelm me. And I get, I'm going to add this in. I'm guessing you didn't write this, but I'm guessing you also get irritable. Okay. Is this burnout, hormones, or something else? Right? Totally. Like think about Sheila sharing yesterday. The anxiety's gone. She's getting better sleep, right? That has such potent ripple effect in our peace of mind. And yes, it can be all of it. Some of the modules in the trifecta, we're doing a deep dive into thyroid and adrenals and gut, but also our nervous system and how we manage stress from a somatic standpoint. There's so much there. And as the hormones change, they can do a number, particularly when it's cyclic. So, one of the ways that the menstrual tracker is helpful in your self awareness is to be able to go in and preemptively address if there's certain times in either the moon cycle or your menstrual cycle where you notice the overwhelm, the anxiety, the irritability spikes. Um, okay, there's a lot of others, but I think we're running out of time, and I just appreciate each and every one of you for how you've shown up. I want to remind you that you have the call that you're welcome to book with me. You have till February 5th to say yes to these amazing offers and to say yes to you. To go, this is my time. I'm ready to have some spectacular answers that aren't just around my health, but as you've heard from all the women, it's also about who I be and how I find my voice and my power and my confidence, and I turn my vision on. Um, yeah, there's just so much potency to that ripple effect and who we become in the world. I really believe a rising tide lifts all boats. So if you imagine a bunch of boats out in the water, and here I am doing my work so that I'm being a more vibrant, more spectacular, more filled up version of me, the tide is rising. And I believe that ripple effect helps humanity. I literally think it's that big. And so we get to say yes and step in with the things that we know we want to change. But as you've heard from testimonials, and you'll hear more over the next 2 days, there's always the other pieces where we go, whoa, I didn't anticipate this to change, but I'm so glad that it did. Yeah. So appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for Regina being willing to even share hers and send them in and share it out to everyone. That's not the easiest, but we did let you know in advance that that would be shared. So that's grateful for you and for everyone who's asked their questions. It helps everybody, because I promise you, whatever question you had benefited every single other person that's listening, because they had a similar question, but they listened to it through their own lens, which is one of the reasons why the live Q&A calls are always so potent, is everybody's listening through their own lens and their own life experience. So with that, I'm going to go back to being in mom world. And I will see you all tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Do the math if you're wherever you are in the world, if you're going to pop on live. And then the recordings, the replays are available. You're welcome. My pleasure. Yeah, and you're welcome to go back and listen again, watch those replays instead of watching Netflix or doing the social media scroll. You're welcome to go back. Tomorrow we go through the chrysalis of change, so the chapters of metamorphosis, and looking at how all those chapters of metamorphosis are really happening in every area of our life at all times, and to really kind of dig into where am I and where do I really want to be. And then on the last day is really around the feminine power of receivership and how can I allow myself to say yes and receive even more, particularly like in this scenario where I've offered up the trifecta. And how many women are like on the struggle bus, wanting different support. And I get to kind of go, well, you know what? It's right here and it's being offered to you. So how much do you really want it? Yep. And sometimes I get to be direct in that way because if you do say yes to me, I'm not just here to be a friend and a cheerleader, but I'm also here because you're hiring me as a coach. And that means sometimes I will be direct and say the things that you need to hear, which is you're here. Are you ready to actually receive the spectacular on the other side? And I've served thousands of women. I've got hundreds of hours of testimonials. The stuff works and lives change. And I know that without a shadow of a doubt, as long as you show up. Okay. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao, everybody.